Hello students, up to our last class we have discussed about different type of materials and how these materials are grouped into different groups based upon some similarities and dissimilarities. In today's class we will discuss further about materials and grouping of the sorting of materials into group. So all materials are made up of matter. So what is matter now? These are some small definition you need to remember. Okay, anything that occupies space and has mass is matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass is matter. For example, if you keep your pen in table, your pen is having some mass, having some weight. Okay, at the same time it is occupying some space in the table, so we can consider this as a matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass is a matter. Okay, everything in this universe is made up of matter. So everything in this universe, for example your table, chair, books, okay, everything are made up of matter. But what is this matter made up of? Now these matters are made of very small particles called atoms. That means there will be small particles known as atoms, and they will come together to form a big particle known as matter. The best example I am giving you, chalk. After writing by chalk in blackboard, you have seen chalk dust. What is this dust? This dust is nothing but, if you consider in broad sense, okay, in a consider this as an example, the dust are here as the atoms, okay, and when you combine all the dust, it will become the chalk, isn't it? White dust, they will form the chalk, full chalk, and full chalk is a matter because it has a shape, it occupies some space and has some weight. I guess it is clear what is matter and what is atoms. Atoms are the small components of a matter. Take a piece of copper, break it, okay, then you have small pieces of copper. If you again break it, these pieces, it will change into more small pieces. The smallest pieces of copper are copper atom. Okay, an atom is very small and cannot be seen with the naked eyes. So they are giving example of copper. If you take a copper wire, for example, and if you break it again and again, they will become small powder like things. You cannot see this even with your eyes. Okay, so these small non-visible compounds are known as atoms, and as a whole the entire copper was known as metal. Okay, so the better example was chalk. Okay, if you take a chalk, then if you just write with it, you will get some chalk dust. So what are these dust? These dust are nothing but the atoms. If you combine this dust, how this chalk is made? By combining, by joining all this small powder like chalk dust, so we are getting the chalk, that is a metal. The smallest, okay, practice of gold and iron is okay, the smallest particle of gold and iron is also an atom. So the smallest particle of gold and iron, for not only for gold and iron, for any metal, the smallest particle will be the atom. That means in cell we read about the smallest is cell. So here you know the smallest, in case of this physics part, the smallest is the atom. That means small in this universe is on all, everything is atom. Then from atom the next will come matter, and these things will come. Okay, let us now take one more example. Okay, we know that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Water consists of atoms of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so the water we drink, we know the water we drink is scientifically known as H2O. Okay, there is two hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen, oxygen, these are gas, you know. Okay, how these are made? These are made by using two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. Okay, the smallest particle one is one molecule of water. Okay, it contains two atoms of hydrogen and one atoms of, okay, the smallest particle of atom is one molecule of H2O. Then several H2O coming together and they are forming water. So in H2 what is there? There is two type of atom. One is hydrogen atom, another one is oxygen atom. Okay, these two atoms coming together, they are forming the water molecule. Similarly, in case of carbon dioxide also, there are two types of atoms forming the matter, carbon and oxygen. If you mix carbon and oxygen, two types of atoms, then only they will form the carbon dioxide gas. Okay, the substance that is made up of the substance that is made up of only one type of atom is called an element. So what is an element? Those substances which are made up of same types of atoms. In the initial case, what we were reading in the previous case, there was one hydrogen, one oxygen, two different type mixing, they are forming a metal. Here what is happening, both the substances which you are mixing are of same type, so they will not form matter, they will form the element. They will form an element. The substance is made up of only one type of atoms. For example, see here we are adding both hydrogen, not hydrogen and oxygen, not hydrogen and nitrogen, we are adding both hydrogen. If you are adding both the same type of atoms, the resultant will be known as element. It cannot be broken down into simple substances by any physical or chemical method, and you cannot break it into any simple substance by chemical or physical method. That is, if you once it is made, it is made. Okay, you cannot break it. Most of the elements do not exist as atoms independently, they join to form molecules. For example, okay, what happens, most of the elements, they do not just naturally, you will not find only one hydrogen or only one oxygen, they become, or they appear as a molecule. Then for example, two hydrogen will come together, they will form a hydrogen molecule. Okay, then two oxygen will come together, oxygen, they will form the O2 oxygen molecule. In this way, in nature things exist, you will not find atoms alone, they exist as a molecule. Okay, a substance that is made up of two or more elements combined chemically fixed problem is called a compound. Now it is a big point. Okay, when the substance made up of two or more elements, that is when multiple substances come together, what they will form, they will form a compound. Okay, a compound exists as molecules. See, today's part is a bit tricky. If you don't read it at home, okay, it will become difficult for you. I am repeating again. If you don't read this part at home, it will become difficult for you because it is a bit higher level. In earlier, whatever you used to read in chapter 1, 2, 3 and chapter 4 till last class, it was quite easy. But this topic, what we are explaining today, now it is a bit higher level. Okay, you need to read it again and again. So I am repeating again this part for your clarification purpose. What is matter? Anything in this universe that occupies some space and has some mass, that is weight. So how matter is formed? Matter is nothing but it is made up of small atoms. Atoms are the smallest smallest thing of a matter. Okay, then the next was for example, what we can give example. For example, in H2O, H2O is a complete what you can consider as matter. Okay, or molecule. In this, what is there, there is your hydrogen and oxygen is there. Okay, two hydrogen and oxygen, that means two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. Similarly, CO2, in CO2 there is one atom of carbon and two atom of oxygen. Okay, then the next was elements. What is elements? When only same type of one type of atoms will come together and they will form some group, this is known as element. Okay, then what was molecule? When two or more elements will come together to form some bond, they will form some molecule. And what is then compound? When some molecules come together, they will form a big group, that is known as a compound. You need to remember in this way. Okay, for example, water, carbon dioxide, etc. Okay, some examples of compounds and elements from which we are made are given following. Okay, they have given some examples. Compound is water. So in water, compound water, there the elements are hydrogen and oxygen, I have explained. Then common salt, whatever salt you eat, it is known as NaCl. water is H2, that means in water we have hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, common salt is NaCl, so we have sodium and chloride. Sugar is glucose, that is C6H12O6. Remember this formula, then you can write answer easily. So sugar is C6H6 or H12O6. So carbon is there, hydrogen is there, oxygen is there. So three elements are there. So in this way you need to remember the scientific term. Water, for water we have H2O, the chemical notation. So in H2O you have hydrogen and oxygen, so hydrogen and oxygen are elements. Similarly, common salt is known as sodium chloride, NaCl. So in NaCl sodium is there, Na means sodium and Cl means chlorine. Then sugar, common sugar is C6H12O6, that is glucose. In glucose we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. In this way try to remember things. Okay. Next, properties of materials. This point is a big point. There are some 8 to 10 properties of materials. We'll go one by one. Okay. We use metals like copper or aluminum to make utensils for cooking purpose. So in our daily life we are using copper and aluminum for what purpose? All our household utensils, for kitchen purpose mainly. For example, the pan or the plates, okay, these are, or the spoon, maximum case these are made up of aluminum or copper. Okay, these are used for cooking purpose. We never use proper paper for making such utensils because paper catches fire when placed on the burner of gas stove. So why we are not using paper pen made of paper? Because we know whenever we'll put the pen made of paper in fire, it will catch fire, but the aluminum pen will not catch the fire, or the iron pen will not catch the fire. So we have the basic concept that there are some metals, some objects are there which catches fire, and some are there which do not catch fire, and based upon this we are grouping this, we are utilizing this. Okay, hence we choose a material to make an object depending on its properties and a purpose for which the object is to be used. So based upon these common properties that some catches fire and some do not catch fire, we use different materials. Okay, based upon the uses. Let us study some of the properties of materials that would be important for their use. So now we'll study some properties in detail which are important for each and every metal for their use. First is appearance, how metals appear to us. Okay, materials usually look different from each other. Each material look different from each other. For example, you take a iron and you take a aluminium, and at the same time you take some copper, all looks different from one another, all are not same, right? Sand looks very different from wood. So if you consider sand and wood, these two looks very different from one another. Okay, wood appears quite different from plastic. Now wood is different from plastic, right? And plastic looks different from aluminum. So these are the difference, that all materials are different from one another. If you consider sand with wood, there is some difference. So the difference begins that each of the metals have some difference between them. For example, if you consider sand and wood, there is a basic difference. By observing sand and wood, you can say that okay, one is sand and one is wood. How you can differentiate? Sand is the texture of sand. Okay, it will, the mass of sand will be different from your wood. Then your wood is different from the plastic. You know how wood looks and how plastic looks, you can differentiate between these two. Then plastic also different from aluminum. Between a plastic mug and an aluminum mug you can easily differentiate, because you know how metals appearance, you know. Okay, any aluminum looks different from copper or iron. So now we know the difference between each type of metals. Aluminum, copper and iron have some common characteristics that are present in not present in sand, wood and plastic. So but there are some common sharing of characters also. For example, aluminum, copper and iron have some common properties which are not common with others. For example, aluminum can resist heat. This is why we are using aluminum pan for cooking purpose. Iron and copper also can resist heat. This is why we are using iron and copper pans also for cooking. but plastic cannot resist heat. This is why plastic we are not using for cooking. That means there are some common characteristics in between metals also, and between differences also between the metals. So we'll perform the activity later on. First, let us discuss in detail the special kind of shine present in the on the materials or shine that appears when they are freshly cut is called luster. That is chamak. So what is chamak? Everything has a glaze. If you buy a new watch, it will have some glaze. Or if you buy a new plate, new cup, it will have some glaze. After some days, what will happen? The glaze will go. If you are buying today a new plastic bottle, it will have some glaze, but after some days what will happen, the glaze will go. So what is this glaze is known? The special kind of shine present on the materials or shine that appears on freshly cut objects is known as luster, 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 that is chamak. Materials like iron, copper, aluminium that have luster shining surface are called lustrous material, and those materials which show the shining property are known as lustrous material. For example, your copper, gold, then iron, silver, these are the lustrous material. Materials like paper, wood, plastic and cotton, they do not have luster and called non-lustrous material. Materials like paper, wood, plastic, cotton, they do not have luster. So if you are buying a gold chain, okay, golds, for example, you have seen golds have luster for long period of time because naturally they have lusters. But the plastic thing, whatever you are buying, or the cotton cloth, the new shirt may have luster today, may have some shine today, but after one washing the shine will go because they are not having the natural luster. Chemically or industrially, some manufacturers are giving lusters to them, glaze to them, shine to them, but they are not having naturally. So scientifically we know, can say that paper, wood, plastic and cotton, they do not have any luster, and these are called non-lustrous material. Usually metals are lustrous. Usually all metals are lustrous. For example, gold, silver are used for making jewelry due to their lustrous nature. So why use gold and silver for making jewelry? Why not iron? Because we know gold and silver have comparatively more luster, so we are using this for making jewelry. Some metals often lose their shine and appear dull because of the action of air and moisture on them. And some matter, what happens, they lose their shine because of some chemical reaction due to air and water interacting with them. The best example is copper. If you have a copper, okay, copper or bronze plate in your home, okay, or a pan in your home, you've seen that due to some seasonal changes, sometimes the copper becomes bright in color, shining in color, sometimes it becomes dull. So it varies with the season, it goes to air condition and the moisture, water present over there, okay. Therefore notice the luster only on the freshly cut surface. So only when we observe luster when these are new, on new objects only we can notice the luster phenomenon. But if it is old, for example, if in an old copper plate you will not see that much luster, but if it is new, just newly cut, it is not reacting with the environmental condition, so it will show you the shine. So we'll perform this activity, and this is for today. Activity 5, to separate, okay, shiny materials from group of materials. So we need to separate shining materials from a group of materials, okay. A piece of wood, copper wire, an iron rod, paper, plastic and aluminium rod and sandpaper. These are some given materials, okay, to us. Method, what method we will follow? Rub the surface of each material with sandpaper. So if you rub each surface of the material with sandpaper, the materials which is having natural shine will give you the shine, because the dust from the upper layer is removing, you are removing that. And if it is not having shine, that is plastic, it will not show you any shine. Observe whether each material is shining or not. Separate the shining material from non-shining material. So now we will observe that whether the material is shining or not. If shining, then keep in one side, and if not shining, keep on the other side. So what are the observation? The surface of materials like iron rod, aluminium rod and copper were shining. The surface of materials like iron rod is shining, aluminium will shine, okay, copper wire will shine, these are shining. But surface of materials like wood will not shine, right? Plastic will not shine, paper will not shine. So this is a very simple activity. So what you need to do today, we will do some practical activity today, okay, not pen paper activity. Today we will do the practical activity. In your home, I guess all of you have this wood you have, right? Any chair, table. If you don't have a piece of wood, you take any chair, table, okay, any bed, okay. Then copperware, I guess all of you have. If you don't have copperware, copper rings, finger rings are there, or copper bangles are there, okay, you can use that. Irons are there, okay. Nails are there in your home. Iron plate, okay, or copper plates are there, plates made of copper. Paper, so all of you have, right? Plastic, I don't need to explain this, all of you have plastic, take any plastic bottle, okay. Then aluminum, in your home you have different utensils in kitchen made of aluminum, take those. And instead of sandpaper, take a cotton cloth, cotton or silk cloth, okay, and rub on that, okay, just rub on the surface. What will see after some time, you see that it will shining, it is showing some shine or not, okay. If it is showing shining, then you can consider, okay, it is true. For example, here they are saying iron is shining, showing shining lusters, so you check whether it is true or not. And they are so saying that plastic is not showing any luster, so you also check it. And what you need to do, whenever you will perform the experiment, you will try to do it practically in home. Click one or two photos and share it with me, then only I can understand, okay, you are doing the experiment, okay. So this is just your today's activity. Thank you. In the next class we will explain the different other properties. We will explain only one properties today. There are many properties still left. We will explain the remaining classes. Thank you.